Hey YouTube, Holman's Outdoor Solutions LLC here. I'm wanting to do a review and impressions on this 2022 Cat 289 D3 of mine. It's got 757 hours on it, I believe. And I'm gonna go over the pros and then the cons. So the pros, I mean, it's been an awesome machine. I've used it a ton for mulching. I've ran two different mulching heads on it, both gyro track. The other head was a little bit smaller than this. It was a 400 HL. Now I have the 500 HF, and I love the 500 HF. It is an awesome mulching head with the groovy teeth on it. It's an awesome head. Weighs 2,100 pounds, and it's a perfect fit for this machine. If you go heavier, like a Dennis Seamoff 180 or a Gyrotrack 600 head that weigh just about 3,000 pounds, they get to be a little much for this machine without counterweights. Yeah, counterweights to it, and that's a little different story. So I really like cats in general. I love the fast hydraulics. This machine has very quick hydraulics. You can change it in the cab actually to make them slower, but I run them at max settings. So I love the fast hydraulics and response from them. This machine is a high flow XPS, so it's got 32 gallons a minute at 4,063 PSI, I believe. So running a mulching head, no problem. It's got 74 horsepower. It doesn't use DEF obviously, but it's got the DPF and it regens, which that ain't really an issue to me. So yeah, the power, the engine power is great for 74 horsepower. It starts right up even when it's super cold out. It's got glow plugs, no issues there. As far as like stuff breaking on it, at 750 hours, I've had nothing break on it. Nothing at all. Trying to think if there's anything that's broken on this, but I don't believe there is. Nothing has broke. So reliability up to this point has been perfect. The inside of the cab is like a cat skid steer. It's kind of cramped in there. I don't know, I kind of like it and I kind of don't. If you're a really big person, you might find it very, very cramped inside of that cab. But if you're under 200 pounds and not really tall, you'll fit perfect in there. The undercarriage, I really like the torsion bars. This is a torsion bar here, and there's one back there. It makes this back right here flex and this front flex. If you have something like a Takeuchi, I think that, I don't know about the new models, but the older models were fixed and it felt like you was riding over boulders all day. You feel every single bump. Very uncomfortable. This, on the other hand, takes a lot of shock out of what you're riding over. It's not as good as the ASV or Cats with the bogey wheels, but it's probably next best to that as far as comfort goes. The loader arms are kind of flexible. They're kind of thin on the bottom. You see it's, you know, yay thick. There's a lot of flexibility in those loader arms. If you're using a bucket or using a mulching head and hit one of the sides on a stump, for instance, them loader arms will tweak like that, like crazy. Versus that Takeuchi on the bottom down here, and the loader arms, they was really fat like that. So there was a lot of stability and rigidness this loader arm system here is really flexible and kind of scares me sometimes when I run into stuff. But obviously it's built very strong because it hadn't snapped anywhere. But I've definitely tested that. So yeah, engine power is great, hydraulic power is great. So the cons, my cons really come in when it comes to servicing this machine. So all the grease fittings aren't a pain to get to, they're all relatively easy. My biggest gripe about this machine really is, shoot, I don't even know if I'm gonna be able to get the back hatch open now. Not really. Oh well. Anyways. Alright, so looking at the machine back here, right back tucked down in there behind the battery is the oil filter. It's in a horrendous spot, and I absolutely hate it. Some people reach back in there, grab their hand around like that, twist the filter off, or get a oil filter wrench and take it off. Then they gotta drag it through all the mess that's in there. What I did was I just took the whole battery out, and because I don't want to put the oil filter cramming it through all these dirty lines and cables and stuff and possibly get something in the oil filter. So I just took the whole battery out and was real careful about it. Didn't get a speck of dirt in the oil filter, put it on, screwed it on, tightened it up with a filter wrench, and I was good to go. Then of course I had to put the battery back in. So that's kind of a big pain in the butt to me. My second big gripe about this machine is the belly pans. There is a little access cover right there and right there. And right up underneath here is the engine. Now, I really wish there was a large rectangle belly pan under here. That way, when I want to clean out the engine bay, I just drop that big old pan and wash everything out the bottom. With them two little teeny access covers, you literally barely get anything out of them. I mean, if that whole thing was just a big open rectangle, that'd be awesome. And if I ever took the engine out of this thing for some reason, I would probably cut a huge rectangle out in there and make some bolt mounts so I could take that whole thing off and really clean that engine bay out really good. It's very hard to clean the engine bay of this machine. And up here towards the front of the engine, right back behind those hoses and stuff where the front of the engine is, you cannot get back there. It is almost impossible. And when you're mulching without a forestry guarding kit like me, then you're going to get a bunch of debris back there and won't be able to get to it unless you just want to reach back there and scratch your arm to pieces like what I've been having to do. And still, even doing that, still doesn't get it very clean. Gets it better than it was, but not how I'd like it. So relocating the oil filter, making a big access cover for the bottom of this engine bay. There is a belly pan. It's not very big though, but it's underneath there. There it is. You might can see the outline of it. It's not very big. I wish it was bigger, or maybe add one more large one under there. That would make cleaning out the belly pan area in here when you raise the cab up a lot easier. I mean, really, other than those two things, and I got the hydraulic quick coupler up here on the front. Underneath here, I can't show it with it down like that, but anyways, underneath here is a gap, and when you're back dragging, when you're mulching, stuff will get caught up underneath that gap and get wedged up against the cylinder. I might be able to show it off better. For some reason, pine has a real bad tendency on getting up in there. It'll get sucked up underneath here and get wedged up behind the cylinder. Sometimes even wedged up against the cylinder rod right here. And then you can't undo your quick coupler to change your implement. And it gets wedged up in there so hard, it is so hard to get the stuff out of there. So that's gripe number 3. And I mean, really the only gripes I have about the machine. Without a forestry garden kit, you're going to struggle with debris getting all in the machine, and it's going to be a pain in the butt. I was quoted for a garden kit, it was like $7,000, and I just said forget that. I'm just going to try to keep an eye on it best I can, clean it out the best I can. That's what I do. I blow it out regularly, and hopefully that'll get me by. The lights on it are LEDs. They're very bright and work awesome. So for a dirt machine, pushing dirt, like a lot of dirt in heavy amounts, this machine isn't that. For one, it's not a large high horsepower machine. It'll just bog it down bad. So the Takeuchi TL12 I had was an awesome dirt pushing machine. It would push like crazy and wouldn't bog down. Of course, it did have 108 horsepower and weighed over 12,000 pounds. But for mulching, this thing does awesome. For dirt pushing, it gets job done. But if you're doing heavy dirt pushing, which you should be using a dirt dozer anyways, this does alright. But it's been a great machine. I've enjoyed it. Maybe this review will help somebody out that's thinking about this model. Alright, y'all have a good one.